Howdy, I'm Matt, and today we're looking at some things around interdimensional and maybe just clear out there. Let's have a look.
You may have heard or said the famous phrase, "the sky is falling," which comes from a fable about a chicken who believes the sky is collapsing when an acorn hits him on the head. But can the sky actually fall?
Adele thinks it can. Adele certainly thinks the sky could fall.
Watch this before you answer. December 2018, it's a hot day in the Western Australian town of Kalgoorlie. As storm clouds begin to gather on the horizon, Lee Stevens aims his camera at the menacing skies before him. Then, suddenly out of nowhere, he sees this. An eerie green specter appears in the clouds. It's slightly curved, almost like a crescent moon with a small spike towards one end. One thing is for sure, it's nothing like Lee has ever seen before.
It was quite a night, a lot of lightning and thunder around. I was like, oh wow, look at that. And I looked into
Fucking hell, keep camera still.
the phone and we saw the green light. Now we stood there watching it and it was changing shapes and things.
But while many would assume lights in the sky during a storm is the work of Mother Nature, according to writer Aaron McCarthy, its odd shape and pointed edges lead many to believe it's a glitch in the Matrix.
I don't know, you just jump straight to, oh yeah, glitch in the Matrix. I mean, I think we're all living in a simulation. Certain evidence proves it, or at least goes a long way towards proving it.
It's a very old idea that perhaps reality is not reality, that we are actually living in a computer simulation that's run by a more advanced civilization than our own.
In 1965, Gordon Moore, the founder of Intel, postulated that the speed and capability of computers can be expected to double every 2 years. Now, picture human civilization millions of years in the future with computer processing power beyond anything we can imagine. What if they...
People say AI is going to end the world. I think pre-2023, before anyone knew about ChatGPT, I think the world was heading towards a shit pan anyway, to be honest. So I think AI is either going to save us or just speed up the demise that we're always heading towards.
created a massive simulation to study their ancestors, and that sim is us. Our now is actually far in the future, and we are simply pixels in a program. Well, as with our own computer programs today, sometimes there's a bug. Could this strange anomaly in the sky be proof of a glitch in a future civilization simulation? The idea that the world is actually an illusion has been discussed in philosophy and in cultures throughout history, from ancient Greece to...
I mean, it does look weird, I must admit, but it's quite... It looks like low to the ground, so it could be something that's lit up. Like a sign or something. Maybe not a sign, because it doesn't showing, but...
India to the Aztecs. In fact, it turns out some scientists actually put the probability that we are in a simulation at around 50-50. So is this mysterious green anomaly evidence of a computer sim gone wrong? Or could there be other factors at play? Our experts investigate. First, we go to meteorologist Juan Hernandez. Is it possible the weather that day is responsible for this?
Well, nobody's talking about the big glowing dome on the ground. So you've got that thing in the sky, or what appears to be in the sky. Then you've got a glowing dome. It almost looks like...
Ominous green light.
It's hard to pause it, because when you pause it, the quality is so bad anyway. But is it not something like a tarp? And the light is shining on it, so it looks like it's, I don't know, maybe not.
The weather conditions during the thunderstorms, they were quite chaotic. We had wind speeds in excess of about 70 miles an hour when these thunderstorms were coming through. Now, this here is fairly static. We don't see any wiggle or any flashes.
So then are we looking at a different kind of atmospheric phenomenon? Could this be the Southern Hemisphere's version of the Aurora Borealis?
When looking at
They're really, really localized if it is.
the southern lights, everything is moving. It's not stationary. It looks like flying ribbons in the sky.
Yeah, but the one on the right was sped up quite significantly.
And that's just not what we see here. This is a static light or a static net.
If natural explanations can be discounted, then could we really be living in an
What about a big... Nobody's mentioning the big giant fucking ball underneath it.
advanced computer simulation?
Well, to be fair, we can't discount any theory. However, I believe that applications of science can tell us what we're seeing.
Instead of computers controlling a simulation, D'Antonio begins by exploring the idea of computers controlling light.
Early in my analysis, I thought, could this be a green laser pointing into the sky and playing back and forth? Trouble was, the projection of the laser isn't gonna work that way on these soft clouds, and you won't get these hard edges. You'll get more of a diffuse glow.
But as D'Antonio digs deeper, he does find a very telling clue in the footage.
I noticed that, like this tree and everything, if you watch, boom, goes out of focus right there just as soon as that shows up. To me, the evidence takes us more toward an ordinary water drop on the camera. We're looking at a hot spot point source that's refracting light off of the water drop on the camera. And that's what we see here. In this reflection, the camera is saturated by this bright light out here. And so we're getting a reflection. I think that he was really excited by the thunderstorm that he was recording, and then he saw the object in the sky and said, whoa, look at that, that's cool. You know, probably didn't realize that he had water on his lens.
Plausible.
Our verdict, we're going with a water droplet on the lens.
It annoys me though, because if you had access to the person who posted this, you'd say, did you see that with your naked eye? Or did you just see it through the camera? And if he said, oh, I saw it through the camera, you go, yeah, water droplets then.
I think D'Antonio's observation that the bottom of the picture loses focus at the same time the anomaly occurs is the key. But hey, it's not every day that a simple explanation leads to such spectacular video. It's May 2017, and we're in the lush forest outside Portland, Oregon, where a hiker records a most unusual walk in the woods.
It's a portal to another dimension.
Watch that again. The hiker walks through the mirror as though it's an open door, then
Of course he does.
turns back to see where he came from, and eventually returns back through the mirror. I get it, pretty out there, but if it's an
Well, if he's hiking, he's carrying a giant fucking camera. He's also got no backpack on, got no hiking gear from what I can see, unless he took it off and left it on the floor. Can't see that reflection anywhere. So if this is obviously some film student or something who's took a mirror, put it against a tree and thought, I'm going to look at filming some sort of effect.
illusion, it's an impressive one. And that's not all.
As he goes through the mirror, you can see that the ivy is on the right side of the tree. But then when he goes back through and he turns around, the ivy is on the left. So it seems like everything has flipped.
Yeah, that's because he's put the mirror on the other side of the tree.
Now work with us here a minute, because McCarthy points out that modern science is open to the notion of mirror worlds.
There are actually scientists out there who are studying the idea that a mirror universe might actually exist.
I think it's possible. I do think it's possible about maybe not the multiverse, you know, like, I don't know, fucking Spider-Man's living in another dimension or something, but certainly higher dimensions, bit more dimensions than we can see. They talk about NHI, which UFOs, right? UFOs. There's this shift away from now that they're some sort of physical craft, nuts and bolts, maybe not made out of nuts and bolts, but you know what I mean, that come from another planet somewhere in the cosmos, right? To maybe they are actual interdimensional beings that you can communicate with using the power of your mind. I don't know, we've made that shift in the last couple of years.
And they're running experiments using subatomic particles to see if those particles will turn into mirror versions of themselves.
The idea of mirror universes comes from a measurement of neutrons that makes no sense. Neutrons, when taken out of the nucleus of an atom, will decay away.
According to the law of conservation of mass, that can't just happen.
Yeah, energy can't be destroyed, it's going to be transformed.
Neutrons are, say, disappearing, then maybe they're disappearing into an alternate parallel universe. Sounds crazy, but this is actual physics that people are testing.
If a parallel universe does exist, has this individual found a portal to it? Before you go running headfirst into your reflection, let's ask.
Well, I've been really, you know, imagine scientists or, you know, government comes out and goes, we've found evidence of an interdimensional portal. And they go, what does it look like? It looks like a $10 mirror from IKEA. Really? Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get my fat ass through there for a start. So if that was an escape to another dimension because the world was ending, maybe I could squeeze through sideways. I don't know.
Ask our experts to explain. Our astrophysicist Hakeem Oluseyi says the existence of a mirror universe is theoretically possible, but points out we wouldn't be able to just step into it.
Everything's theoretically possible until it's not.
Physicists speak about a mirror parallel universe. They're talking about something similar to what we have, but we don't feel it or interact with it. In this case, the person is still in our universe.
So we need a more prosaic explanation of this footage.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't call him an idiot because at the end of the day, he might have just done this as a school project or something, but we all know what it is.
And forensic video analyst Mick West thinks he's got one.
So I think what happens here, you get a clue as he gets towards the mirror here. He approaches the mirror at a 45-degree angle, so you can't see his reflection. So I think what happens, and if this was the mirror, you'd come up to the mirror, 45 degrees, you rotate it, come back out again, and turn around. And then you can come back in, do the same thing, come out this way. All you have to do is then cut that video and remove the bits where you turn the camera. It's very, very well done. It's a camera trickery, but it's nicely done camera trickery.
Okay, our verdict. This video was an impressively made hoax. While a mirror universe may...
Oh, got it. I thought that was real then. I thought it was an IKEA portal.
still exist, we don't yet have an easy way to visit it. Not through a mirror, and sadly, not through a TV screen either. It's July 2020 in Portland, Oregon. Local resident Danny Tumia and his 2-year-old son are walking down the hallway of their old apartment building, which was converted from a hotel in the 1980s. Danny records with his phone as his son approaches a mirror and begins to wave and point into it. It's as if he's catching a glimpse of an old friend. Then, while he's turning away, a ghostly face suddenly appears at the edge of the mirror. At first, it seems like it could be the condensation from the boy's breath. But here, take a closer look. There's no mistaking what appear to be 2 hollow, gaping eyes.
It almost makes you like stop dead in your tracks and you're like, you freeze up because you're like, what is this? What am I looking at?
And Danny says this wasn't the first time his son exhibited a strange affinity for the mirror.
My son would just always go right to it. It was like he was talking to something or somebody. It gives me the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it.
According to author Alexis.
Right. But if you look at his son touches the mirror twice, right? And he gets close and breathes on it. But I think the breath is the bit that goes like that. And I think where he touches it is where the eyes appear.
Brooks, many cultures associate mirrors with the supernatural.
For centuries, both the ancient Maya as well
Logging a dead horse for this one.
mirrors served as portals to another world and could actually be
Now that's what I think a portal should look like. Like something that... Have they ripped off Stargate? That's a rip-off of Stargate.
used as tools for divination.
These stories of the otherworldly power of mirrors have
Unless Stargate ripped something else off, like Egyptian lore or something, I don't know.
persisted throughout the centuries, inspiring wonder and morbid fear.
Now, the Victorians, what they would do with mirrors in the home of the deceased is they would cover all of them with cloth because they believed that the newly dead might get confused and get caught up in the mirror and not go where they were intended to go.
Anthropologists have long speculated that when early humans saw their reflections, They thought they were looking at a likeness that could take on a life of its own. In some ways, this suggests that we have always had this sense of a mirror universe.
So early humans looked at reflections and go, oh, there's somebody there looking directly back at me. And you go, weren't very bright, were they? But then there's still people who live around today thinking that the Earth's flat.
So could we finally
And if you're one of those people, please explain to me why you think that's the case.
be seeing proof of this other world? Our experts see through a glass darkly. First, theoretical physicist Dr. Michio Kaku considers if we could be witnessing a mirror universe in this video.
Physicists actually look at the mathematics of parallel universes on the other side of the looking glass. And even the great cosmologist Stephen Hawking wrote papers about whether or not these mirror universes could exist. But the energy necessary to open these gateways is comparable to that of a black hole.
Since there's no black hole in Danny's apartment building, we consider if there might be a ghost in the mirror.
So is a black hole linked to another dimension?
Well, we did some digging and couldn't find anything about any young children dying tragically here.
How many times does he press the mirror?
But video analyst Mick West has another theory about the image of this alleged ghost child.
You can see here the eyes match, the nose matches, the hairline matches. So it's the same child. It kind of leads us with really only two possible explanations. Either it's a real ghost or it's a fake video. And I'm going to go with fake video.
Yeah, I don't always agree with Mick West, but he's probably right in this one.
Why so sure? Mostly because this type of video manipulation is pretty easy to pull off.
All you would have to do is take a copy of the baby's face, post it in that position, and then just move it around as the mirror moved. I took a copy of the baby's head and I pasted it down in that location. And I reduced the opacity down to about 20-odd%. So it gives it that ghostly quality. Then I use what's called keyframing. I set up a position track here and moved the baby's head so that it matched the frame of the mirror. And so we end up with this very similar effect. There's a little ghostly after image.
Our verdict? Hoax.
I don't know why people insist on doing that sort of shit on the internet. It's like, there's so much fake news and fake gumph out there. It annoys me that anyone would want to do it. For clicks or likes or something. Attention. Ugh.
Little snooping, we discovered that Danny has posted other allegedly unexplained run-ins with the unknown.
Yeah, it's because he's a wanker.
Although he has never admitted to doctoring his videos, we're pretty sure our reflections on this one are accurate.
Because he's a wanker.
It's late September 2019 in the coastal town of Weston-super-Mare in England.
Weston-super-Mare.
One morning, a local woman wakes up bewildered at what's taking place in her bedroom. She grabs her phone and starts recording.
I'm in my bedroom and...
Come on, Phyllis. Put some leather around it.
I'm looking at the wall. What is this sorcery that is happening?
The woman holds up her hand in front of the wall in a state of utter shock. The image is blurry, but you can clearly see her pan the camera as a red car drives past a block of buildings.
I am confused at how this is happening.
It appears a row of white houses is being projected onto her bedroom wall. They look like perfectly normal residential buildings, except...
Well, let's have a look out the window.
One thing, they are all upside down.
Yeah, that's because there'll probably be large windows on the other side of the street or something, and the light, the sun, is beaming against those, and it's reflecting into the window of... can't remember her name, Phyllis, whatever.
Amy Title wonders if it's all an illusion.
What's really interesting is her curtains are pretty much completely closed. So it could just be a trick of the light.
When the video gets posted and goes viral, some suggest the buildings are not of our world, but a nearly identical one, a glimpse into another dimension. Is such a portal even possible? Consider that other dimensions might exist, according to something called string theory.
String theory is a theory whereas instead of having atoms as kind of the base layer that creates everything, that everything in the universe is created by one-dimensional strings.
These one-dimensional strings, or filaments of energy, are the smallest objects in the universe, and they're said to vibrate in different patterns.
The problem is, they're the smallest things in the universe that we can understand at the moment. We didn't see strings, and we didn't even have concepts of strings like 50 years ago. And as technology improves, we go into the absolute minute detail, and it's well, we know we could just keep zooming in to see entire civilizations at the macroscopic level.
And these strings
Yeah, I just went off a tangent there, didn't I?
can vibrate against each other and create multiple dimensions.
You pick up your palette knife and then work that into your meat. Give your meat a good old rub. That's it. Nice and hot. Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy. That's it.
So it's like childbirth.
Now, string theory tells us there could be up to 10 or 11 dimensions. So has this woman discovered something big? Or is it just another example of other freaky physics? Our experts untangle what's going on.
We have a scene from another universe right in someone's bedroom. How is that possible?
Theoretical physicist Michio Kaku says something kind of like this is possible theoretically with a wormhole, where two black holes in different universes could.
I get what they do on this show. I understand exactly what they do. It's like we've got to throw out the outlandish, theories and talk about interdimensions and UFOs and lizard people. You know what I mean? And then what we'll do is we'll say, let our experts have a look, and they'll go, yeah, it's just the reflection of the houses across the street. You know what I mean? I understand why they do it, because it's entertainment, and I find it entertaining. But sometimes I just like to get to the meat of what's being said, rather than going out on every outlandish theory known to man.
Connect, establishing a doorway between them. But the proof wouldn't look like this.
Now, of course, if a black hole or wormhole were to open up in somebody's bedroom, the energy is so great that anyone's bedroom would be sucked inside, never to be seen again.
If it's not a bedroom black hole, maybe there's a projector hidden in the room. Video analyst Mick West takes a look.
These images are a bit blurry. I think if someone was trying to fake some kind of alternate reality, they would have used a clearer image. We can see that it is actually a projection because she waves her hand and leaves a shadow, so it's not actually something that's added to the video afterwards.
So it's not CGI, but could it be a bit of movie magic coming from an electronic projector? That doesn't explain why the image appears upside down. And West says it doesn't match what he sees from the woman's shadow.
The projector...
Yeah, because a projector would project onto the woman's arm.
It would have to be behind her for her to cast a shadow on the wall. And what's behind her from that perspective is the window. So the projector would have to be basically where the window is.
In the clip, we don't see a projector, but we do see tiny gaps in the curtain.
I think we do see a projector. It's called the windows across the street.
There's just this one small, thin rectangle, a hole, an aperture. And because this is the only way that light can get in, it's acting as what's called a pinhole camera. The term we use for that is camera obscura.
As light rays hit an object and then travel through the aperture of a pinhole camera, they project the image of an object upside down. This creates the camera obscura effect. And just to prove it conclusively, West has been able to recreate it.
I took this plastic sheet here and I put it over the window, and it has this little hole in here. And then when I turned the camera around, I could see that there was a projection of my backyard onto the back wall of my garage. And like in the video we saw, I can cast a shadow on it. And here's an image of me walking around, waving this umbrella around, projected onto the back wall of my garage.
Our verdict? This is an example of camera obscura from a pinhole camera accidentally made by the window shade. The buildings we see in the image are actually the neighbors' houses from right across the street. We might not have traveled to a new universe, but we got a good lesson in the science of optics. You passed. Class dismissed. November 2015. Just a typical day of rush hour traffic in the Chinese city of Xingtai. Then there.
That's rush hour traffic? Fucking hell, we'd all be so lucky. I travel into Manchester, set off at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I get there for like 8 o'clock in the morning. And that is during the summer holidays.
Yes. Take a closer look. Two vans jump in the air and appear to suddenly defy gravity.
The van topples over as it hits the ground, and nobody knows what happened.
I'm pretty sure I've seen this before. This is an old one.
It's totally freaky, doesn't make any sense.
But it's not just the laws of gravity that seem to be bending. In July 2020, a photo surfaced on the internet that shows the impossible.
Now this one really is weird. One of the girls, her facial expression in the mirror is different from her actual facial expression. Something
Demon. It's a demon.
like this can't be real, right?
What is going on here? Has reality suddenly gone off the rails? Physicist Dr. Michio Kaku explains that some believe it's proof our world is actually an elaborate computer simulation.
The fundamental premise of the simulation theory is that there's a mysterious, super advanced civilization that runs computer programs to simulate reality itself. They can create a world that's totally fake.
How would an alien civilization be able to generate our reality with such detail? Maybe we only need to look to our own technological advances.
In the 70s, we were playing Pong on a black and white TV. Now we have virtual reality. If we are capable of this kind of technological advancement, then an alien race that's millions of years, ahead of us could create simulations that we can't even touch yet.
It's true. It is true. I think technology is exponential. Look at when you get the birth of the computer, everything changes because simulations, research improves, and then it improves, and then it improves, and then computer technology improves, the processing power improves, memory improves, quantum computing comes along, bang, and then all of a sudden quantum computing will go, there's another level of quantum computing on top of that, or something beyond quantum computing, tapping into the, I don't know, maybe the building blocks of the universe to use processing power. Look how far we've come in the last 10 years in terms of computing power. AI, things like that. I'm really, really interested to see where it all goes.
So when a car mysteriously jumps in midair or a mirror shows a wrong reflection...
I'm sure I've seen that one before. That one was... I think it was one of these Snapchat filters where you could take a picture, pull a face, and then pan round, and it's sort of like you could take another picture, so it takes it at 2 separate times.
Simple. It's a glitch in the alien's computer code.
Not
or an Instagram filter.
Everything you see is always working the way it should. The computer's frozen, and some people perceive this phenomenon as proof that this is a glitch in the matrix.
Now, if you believe we're not alone, and you believe technology advances exponentially, it follows that an alien civilization may well have evolved to the point that they're running lots of big simulations, and we're living in one of them.
It doesn't have to be aliens, it could be us. If you think about it, we run, like, what's that thing? Is it Sims? The Sims or something? I never played it. Or something as simple as SimCity, right? I have played SimCity. So you've got all these little things that you control, and it's like just really localized, and it's small, it's quite, simple. Now you put SimCity on a quantum computer, and it'll be fucking huge. It'll be like almost like you could generate the solar system. It'll be that big, you can control it, and it'll be huge, maybe even bigger. So maybe us in the future has simulated what we are in the past, and we're living in that simulation. Maybe the universe is just one big simulation.
But are these images proof or not? We first sent the bizarre video of the car to science writer and forensic video analyst Mick West.
I just love once, right? Mick West just comes on and goes, "Yeah, I think it's a UFO." Yeah, but Mick, it's just obviously two cats. No, it's a UFO.
My first thought was perhaps there was some kind of water main break, and the water was rushing up underneath his car and pushing it up into the air.
West zooms in on the video. There's clearly no water seen underneath the cars, but he does find a clue in how the van jumps in the air.
It kind of jerks and then it's suspended.
I'm sure I've seen this before.
Only plausible thing that could hold up something like that is a rope or a cable or a chain.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but there's a guy with a bike on that side, and he's not affected. There's cars on the other side not affected. So why would that just impact those two cars right there, or vans, whatever they are?
Looking for a cable or chain, I don't see anything. But West says take a closer look at the right-hand side of the screen. See that large vehicle between the two cars?
There's a street sweeper going by, kind of about the same time that they get raised up into the air.
West did some more digging.
Right. But I can't see any link between the two.
Turns out this street sweeper is the key to the mystery.
What actually happened was there was a cable lying on the street, and this cable got tangled up in this street sweeper, and it pulled the cars up into the air. And because the video is very low quality, you can't see this.
So chalk one up for everyday reality.
Well, yes, the car outside of the street sweeper, you can see that lift. Fair enough. Who the hell leaves a steel cable in the middle of a street?
Of the girl in the mirror. We ask our other forensic video analyst, Michael Primo, to take a look.
So I began my investigation by examining what's referred to as the metadata information. This particular image, I noted several consistencies with what I would expect to see as an original. I noticed no inconsistencies in the digital information.
Primo confirms the file is a camera original, but could the face in the reflection have been digitally manipulated after the photo was taken?
I look for any kind of inconsistencies in directionality of light, any kind of inconsistencies in the actual compression blocks, which is a X-ray version of the picture, which looks for areas of the image that have been copied over, duplicated, cloned, etc.
Here's where it gets freaky.
We would expect to see some sort of pasting of these two faces, but I do not detect any evidence of tampering of any kind. This is likely what actually was being documented in real life.
So it turns out those cars and vans can be explained pretty simply. Our verdict there, a tangled cable. But the examination of that photo is rock solid. There was no digital trickery, and who knows? It could be evidence that this reality is not really real.
I could have sworn I've seen that photo on another segment somewhere. And I could have sworn it was on this, where they said it was a Instagram filter.
Our verdict on the photo? Unexplained phenomenon. In a previous episode, we brought you a story that questioned if we're actually living in a simulated reality. Well, one of you out there spotted something during that story which convinced us to take a second look. It's February 2021 in Ontario, Canada. Local resident Steve Jones has always been interested in things that are a bit otherworldly. So since discovering our show, he's become hooked.
I've always kind of watched the UFO shows. I've always found them interesting.
He's watching the latest episode when a
Me too, Steve, me too.
particular image catches his eye. It's one that's left our whole team baffled. The photo shows two girls, on the right, taking a selfie in a mirror, but the reflection doesn't match the reality. Look at the girl in the black shirt. On the right side, she is smiling along with her friend. But now look at the reflection in the mirror. The friend, still smiling, but the girl in the black tee, her expression has changed. What? We figured the photo had to be fake. But in our earlier episode, Michael Primo said it doesn't show any signs of digital manipulation.
I noticed no inconsistencies in the digital information.
So he's stumped. One theory put forward is that we are actually living in a computer simulation and it momentarily glitched in this photo.
You know what? I'm starting to think, have I seen a clip of this, like a really small clip of this? Just the explanation.
Whatever caused the anomaly, it got Steve's attention.
So after the show was over, I spoke to my wife and said, you know, this kind of weird thing went on the show where the girl's face didn't match up in the reflection.
But his wife isn't the least bit perplexed. Instead, she gets her phone and shows him similar photos of herself and her daughter. See how his wife's reflection seems to be staring at her when she isn't even facing the mirror? And here, his daughter's reflection doesn't match what she's doing in real life at all.
I said, show me how you do it. And so she showed me the little trick.
Steve says the trick is to put the camera in panoramic mode. That allows you to capture more of a scene by panning across it.
And then it stitches it together.
To stitch together multiple images into one seamless shot. Now, maybe you use this feature all the time, but if not, we asked him to explain.
So we talked to our expert, Steve.
As soon as the camera points away from you out of that picture, that's when you move. And then by the time...
Right, let's take clothes off. I'm joking.
Spins in front of the mirror to catch your reflection, you look totally different than the original photo.
Photography expert Andrew.
It's quite amazing how technology allows you to do stuff like that, which would have been serious editing skills back in the day.
McCarthy spots some telltale signs of how these photos were made.
You can see while the picture was being taken, she actually shifted positions, and you can tell by the way her hands seem to melt into each other. So that tells me this was stitched together from multiple photos.
And as for our original, Primo says the model of smartphone that took the photo doesn't provide data that identifies panoramic mode. But he agrees that this feature was the likely culprit.
The testing that we can perform only leaves us with one feasible explanation. The camera equipment was used in a way to deceive the viewer at the time that it was captured.
Yeah, come up with that though, Michael Primo. It was our expert, Steve.
So our revised verdict, this was a camera effect. I admit we should have figured this one out on our own. Anyone under 30 probably could have also solved it for us. So at least for today, we're pretty sure we're not living in a simulation. But we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, that was quite interesting. Are we living in the multiverse? Are we living in a simulation? I don't know. If you want to look at whether we're living in a simulation or not, these are not going to be the bits that prove it or not. Go and look for something called the Double-Slit Experiment. That is really interesting. And it really does point to something that says, if we are observing an experiment, it impacts the outcome of the experiment. So if we're not looking at it, it behaves this way. But if we start looking at it, it behaves this way. Which is strange, right? So why would something act differently the way we're looking at it? Let me know what you think. Are we living in a simulation? I think there's potential chance that we are. Anyway, I will see you on the next one. You take care.